Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And my camera is still messed up, so I'm just going to minimize that. This is freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. There's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright, and no, my content may not be used to train AI LLMs. Keys to the reading. I use constellation-based astrology, sometimes called true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky. In ancient times, astrologers were astronomers. So I'm reading the sky in a way that the astronomers see it, and then I'm interpreting it that. Tropical astrology fixes the signs to seasons. So I'm reading astrology by the visible sky and using that information. And using the visible sky, there are 13 signs instead of 12, because between Scorpio and Sagittarius is a sign called a fucus. The symbol is of a person holding a snake by the head and the tail. Snake in ancient times symbolized knowledge. So when you're holding it by the head and the tail, you're using knowledge. And the story is that he would ideally use that knowledge to heal himself so then he could heal others with similar wounds. And I also use the natural size of the constellations, because Mother Nature in her wisdom made them that way. Virgo is huge at just under 50 degrees. However, if you follow this channel, you'll note that we've just had a rapid succession of sign changes because Libra, Scorpio, and a fucus, individually, each one of them is less than 25 degrees. Together, they don't even make 75. So natural size of the constellations, because in the sky, they're all different sizes. And I use astrological midpoints because in my training with Athan Chimenti, he showed how the IAU boundaries are arbitrarily drawn. And for example, the border between Scorpio and a fucus, stars from Scorpio are actually over the border of a fucus. So what Athan did was he used the ecliptic or the zodiac belt, found the last bright star of Scorpio, first bright star of a fucus, found the midpoint, and drew the boundary that way. And then he proceeded to do it with all other constellations. I think it's more accurate personally. Keys to the reading part 2. I interpret using evolutionary astrology, which says that these transits are lessons to learn and that you have freedom of choice. You fated to face these transits. You get to choose how you're going to be dealing with them. This is the weekly edition, so these are universal lessons for everyone to face. So do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers. Dates and times are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone because I live outside of Buffalo, New York, and that's what my software is set for. I'm operating within 1 degree of exact because that's when the energy is most intense. And secondly, if I went beyond that, I'd be overwhelmed. You'd be lost. And finally, the software that I use is for my transits is Capricorn by Prometheus. So this is the weekly transits for the week of December 29th, 2025 through January 4th, 2026. Happy New Year. The sun is in Sagittarius. The moon, it starts on Monday in Pisces and then quickly goes into Aries same day. So this is not as busy with the moon as it seems. So we do have Aries, long stretch in Taurus, long stretch in Gemini, and then on Sunday we finally get into Cancer. So it's not as busy as it seems. Saturday we do have the full moon in Gemini at 7:13 in the morning. So if you do get up in the morning and we don't have a cloudy sky, you can actually see the full moon. We do have another sign change this week. Mercury is entering Sagittarius. And our active planets this week are all the inner planets, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And they're all making transits to the nodes of the moon, which is destiny. And I will be talking about that when we get there. Jupiter is finishing up a very long transit to Chiron, so that's our outer planet that's doing some work. And our retrograde parade shrinks again because Chiron goes station direct. I forgot to put that in here, my bad. And we only have Jupiter and Uranus in retrograde. So we do have Chiron going station direct. My doodle tool ready. And anything above this line is from previous weeks. And as you can see, Monday evening is when we enter Aries. We have that long stretch in Taurus, long stretch in Gemini and Sunday. So the moon is actually relatively steady. And especially nice here is with it being in Taurus, emotional stability, peace, and calm. Nice way to begin the new year. And as you can see here, we do have a lot of transits, but when you're looking at them, who's crying? One of my cats is crying. As you can see, we do have a lot of activity with the nodes of the moon. So the nodes are going to be very influential this week. This is your past and your future and how you're going to be working with it. But our big planet of the week is the sun, with those three transits to the nodes of the moon and a conjunction to Venus. And this is going to be a very long conjunction, by the way. And Venus will go from being she'll be able to, if you do follow astronomy, this is when Venus is going to go from being the morning star to the night star. Because before this, if you wake up in the morning, you can see Venus. Now you're going to have to, when this transit's over, you're going to see her in the evening sky after sunset. So number one is we do have the sun, which is your core identity. So issues with your identity. Secondly, we do have Mercury here and here, and then the sign change on Wednesday. So the second most influential planet this week will be Mercury, your learning and communication. And then finally, we do have Venus. Trigger her here. And again, she's working with the nodes, but she's also got that transit with the sun. Again, relationships, creativity as well. You might also want to focus a little bit on rest and relaxation and see how that works and work on that. And finally, I did mention, because we do have this long transit with Mars in the nodes, that's your developing courage and assertiveness. And finally, we do have this outer planet long transit. This is the last one for a little bit. Okay, one of the cats is playing with water. So Jupiter is in a square to Chiron, and that's finishing up. That's the opportunity to heal. So let me clear this out. Clear all drawings. Anything else? And energetically, things start slow in the beginning of the week, but again, New Year's Eve is I've got this picture of Wile E. Coyote pushing the rock to the top of the hill and letting it go. That's when letting the snowball roll down, whatever. That's when all the energy happens. Starting Wednesday, picks up momentum on Thursday, really intense on Friday, and then finishes up with the full moon on Saturday. And Sunday, the Cancer moon says, chill out. So let me clear that out, close that out. And this is our long transit. It's no longer ish. I don't know why I left that in there. Different times I ran this report had it end. Some had it on the 29th. Some had it entering on the 30th. Some went as far as the 31st. I'm leaving it at the 29th. It's either the 29th or the 30th. I just want to do this. This is my brain. Yeah, it is on the 29th. Sorry. But again, Jupiter in Gemini is the opportunity to learn. In retrograde, reflect on what you're learning. How are you communicating it? Are you listening? Are you paying attention? What are you paying attention to? And a square is a challenge whose purpose is to strengthen you. Think of lifting weights. If all I ever gave you were these little 2.5-pound weights, you'd never build muscle. You might build tone, but no muscle. In order to build muscle, you got to go to 5, 7.5, 10, and then eventually do the heavier weights like that. So a square is a challenge whose purpose is to strengthen you. And what are we strengthening? And here you're reflecting on the healing of your spirituality and the releasing of those spiritual wounds. So is what you're learning helping you to heal spiritually and release those wounds? And the shadow here is Jupiter. The shadow of Jupiter is a crisis in confidence, and whether that's overconfident or underconfident. And in Gemini, either, you just The mind is out of control. Either you think you know it all, you can't learn it all, you're distracted, unfocused. The square becomes a crushing burden, which leads to what? More wounding. Instead of healing, you're wounding yourself, potentially wounding other people. And in Pisces, you just want to escape or numb the pain any way you can. From the Friday the 26th, the moon is in Pisces. We're seeking inspiration, new vision for yourself. Spiritual growth can also seem to be important. Pisces is, seen as the sign that does address spirituality and being present in that respect. So there's that. The shadow here is withdrawing from life and isolating yourself or living in an escapist fantasy. And from December 28th, we have Mars in Sagittarius sextiling the North Node in Aquarius. And anytime it's aspecting one node, it's going to hit the other. So you look at the graphic, you will see that I have that drawn in there. But Mars in Sagittarius, the courage to explore and go out and see what's out in the world. And having courage and faith in yourself to explore these new ideas and new interests. And the sextile creates an interest in what? North Node, your destiny, and making it more authentic to you. So what is you're exploring, and how is this tying into your destiny, and how is it making that more meaningful? The shadow of this is Mars falls into fear, and that can be both anger or cowardice, and the appropriate responses thereof. And and that fuels this crisis again. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, so I like to see that. I like to say that fear fuels this crisis of confidence, which undermines and weakens your destiny. And instead of you pursuing your authentic self, you're giving your power away, whether that's acting out to get a reaction from other people or selling out and trying to fit in. And all that results is, all that fear does is makes a madness of your purpose in life. And on Monday, we have Mercury in Ophiuchus squaring Saturn in Pisces. Mercury in Ophiuchus, learning to heal, is the square, strengthening what? Your spiritual maturity and doing the work of spiritual growth. So how is what you're learning about healing, strengthening your spiritual growth and your spiritual journey? That was a new one. My cats have been weird the last couple of days. I don't know why. Probably something with the moon phase. Oh, that's shadow. Never mind. Okay, that was your cat commercial. So healing mentally can help to strengthen your growth in spirituality. The shadow here is being mentally rigid and blinding yourself to wonder, or blind yourself to the knowledge of healing, of being able to heal yourself. So literally it's mentally wounding. This can also be words that wound. I'm looking at self-talk here with that. And the square becomes a stumbling block or a crushing burden. And that fuels despair, self-pity. Saturn can become a control freak. And all that becomes based on fantasies or a desire to escape reality. So you're now learning to heal and stumbling along and just making a mess of your spiritual life. And Monday evening, as I did mention, the moon enters Aries. So you're learning to have courage and feeling assertive. And this helps you to accept and face challenges and competitions. And it's a way of strengthening yourself emotionally. This is healthy assertiveness, standing up for what you believe and what you feel. The shadow here is falling into fear, whether that's anger or cowardice, and slipping into resentment over what could be trivial matters, in the long run. But this is falling into fear and letting that fuel your responses. Tuesday, Mars in Sagittarius trines the South Node. So still dealing with the North Node and the courage to explore. How is that supporting your awareness of how you hold yourself back with pointless drama? The South Node is how you hold yourself back, and the shadow of Leo it's pointless drama. And whether that's you standing out to get a reaction from people, hey, everybody look at me, or trying to hide away. Think of the cowardly lion. So you either got that proud, pompous lion or the cowardly lion. That's pointless drama. So as you're getting the courage to explore, you're becoming more aware of that. The shadow is falling into fear and fueling that pointless drama. You want me to do what? Oh my God. Hey, everybody look at me. I get to do this, and shoving it in everybody's face. Or you want me to do what? No, I can't do that, and trying to hide away. And with its sextile to the north node, as you're doing that exploration, you're becoming aware of how you hold yourself, how you're holding yourself back with pointless drama, and becoming more aware of how you can move forward and make your life's purpose more authentic. That's the ideal here. And Tuesday evening, the moon enters Taurus. Time to find peace and calm. Take a chill pill. Take time to calm down, pull away if you can. Just relax. I can help you realign with who you are at heart and finding comfort in that. It helps with these lunar transits to know what your natal moon is, because these lunar transits do tie into that. So it helps you understand that. And the journey of the moon can also be a healing journey as well, and I'll talk about that later. The shadow, though, in Taurus, becoming emotionally stubborn, this can leave you stuck, feeling trapped in a prison of consistency. And whether it's you're being lazy or unmotivated, or aggravated and like a bull in a china shop. I mean, I've worked on farms, and I've seen bulls just sitting out in the field being lazy, and then I've seen them angry and barreling around the pasture. So I like to do the over under. So you can either be completely lazy and unmotivated, or you can be a bull in the china shop destroying everything and not caring. Be careful. That's the shadow. Wednesday, Mercury enters Sagittarius, and this is actually, I believe, the fourth largest constellation in the sky. So this is going to be here for a while, which is nice. And this is finding confidence in your ability to learn and communicate. Follow what you're curious about and what interests you, and pursue that. And get away from your old mental perceptions, what you think you know. Open up to new ideas and new perceptions. And instead of saying 2 + 2 is what, go with the question X + Y = 4. And look for all of those answers. Be really interesting. The shadow here is a mental crisis of confidence, whether over or under, and that can have you mindlessly repeating and droning over and over about the same old information, and it gets boring fast for you and for everyone else. And communication gets shut down, and you get trapped in mindless and meaningless patterns. If you leave this transit without learning anything new, you missed the point. And with that, Mercury in Sagittarius squares Neptune and Pisces. So as you're learning something new, how is this strengthening your ability, your spiritual growth? How is this helping you to learn to be present? I like to say that Venus, and this is from Stephen Forrest and his various teachings, Venus in Pisces, not Venus in Pisces, but Neptune in Pisces. Don't just do something, sit there. The great lesson of Neptune and Pisces is to be present and in the moment. Ask what's going on right now. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the present. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the future. Focusing on the present. How's what you're learning strengthening your ability to be present and in the moment? The shadow here is that crisis of confidence becomes a stumbling block, and you become lost. You can become lost, you can become confused, and trying to escape reality or living in a fantasy. I know this already. You can't teach me anything new, blah, blah, blah. And everybody else is growing. You're like, how come I'm still here? So, yeah, that's how it can become a mess. And hey, the nodes of the moon show up again, and a lot. The sun will be sextiling the north node. So you're exploring who you are at heart. and your own personal interest. And as you're doing this, creates an interest in your destiny and helps you to make your destiny more authentic to who you are. And key what it says with the North Node, understand where the North Node is in your birth chart. Because once you understand where it is in the birth chart, that helps you understand your purpose and what you're here to learn. And now, how can you make that more authentic? For me, it's in Pisces, learning spirituality, learning to be present. What's my authentic spirituality look like? So that's how I would phrase that. So as you're learning as you're opening up and learning new things about you and about your self-image, how is that creating an interest in your destiny and your purpose and making it more authentic to you? The shadow is that ultimate crisis of confidence, because it's just dealing with your heart and your core self. And collapsing into the false ego can have you selling out your destiny in order to fit into everybody else's intentions and purpose. And in Aquarius, you're selling out to either to fit in with people or to get a reaction from them. We're always trying to fit in somewhere. So you're acting out to try to fit in with this group of people who always are acting out and doing stuff to provoke, or you're selling out trying to fit in with the crowd, going with the flow. And on Thursday, Chiron moves station direct. Chiron is the asteroid of healing. So in station direct, it's a time to pause and reflect. So after this point in time, Chiron will be moving forward throughout Pisces. Eventually, we'll get into Aries. Yay. But during this time, reflect on what you've learned and how can you implement what you've learned about spiritual healing, because Chiron's about healing. Pisces, I like to say, is about your spirituality, your being present. So, and that's what spirituality will teach you. So how is that healing? How is this your journey of spiritual healing? What did you learn? How can you use that now? And how are you understanding also your wounds from a higher perspective or from a different perspective, and being willing to release them to whatever higher power you happen to believe in? Also to heal and release spiritual wounds as well. The shadow here is refusing to heal or trying to numb the pain of the past spiritual wounds and leaving you living in an empty and idle fantasy. So you're numbing the pain, pretending everything's fine, or trying to escape it all. Just doesn't work. Also on Thursday, Venus in Sagittarius is sextiling the North Node. So Venus, I like to talk about relationships. So getting up, going out, finding new friends, meeting new people, but also creativity. And with that, we're talking the arts and music. So, if you're into the artistic, if you enjoy certain types of music, explore something else. If you enjoy certain types of painters or styles of painting, look at other ones. If you are an artist, exploring different mediums. I like to point out as Pablo Picasso was a good example. Look at his entire career, how he started out, then he fell into Cubism, he had his blue period, and then all this other stuff. He really did some wild things. But that's the perfect example. Also, Venus deals with rest and recreation. How are you having fun? How are you taking a break? Sextiling the North Node. So when you're working with new people or exploring different modes of creativity, how is that creating an interest in your purpose and your destiny? And how is that helping you to make it more authentic to yourself? So Venus is very interesting in the many different things that it actually covers. A lot of people focus on just the relationships. It's your creative impulses. It's also your ability to rest and have fun. The shadow here is being slick, manipulative, lazy. And again, in that crisis of confidence, thinking you can get people to do your work for you. And that is not going to fulfill your destiny there. If you do get them to do the work for you, you're going to wind up doing and being somebody else. So this is kind of a form of self-sabotage of your destiny and undermining it and weakening it. If it's creativity, you're just copying what other people are doing. Big deal. And if it's rest and recreation, you're not. And that's just leaving you to be, again, if you're doing what everybody else is doing and it's not rejuvenating you, why bother doing it if you're just trying to fit in? Yeah, and that'll pull you out of alignment with who you are, and life just can feel empty. And I believe Friday is our big day with tons of transits. We talked about Sun sextiling the North Node, and now it's trining the South Node. So as you're exploring things about who you are, you become, this trine is an easy energy. You're becoming more aware of how you hold yourself back with that pointless drama, whether it's the everybody look at me or I don't want to be seen at all. As you're exploring who you are, you become more aware of that. And you're seeing how that holds you back from achieving your destiny and achieving your purpose in life. So that's how I'm reading the whole transit there between the Sun, the South North Node, and the South Node. So ideally, you're aware of how you hold yourself back with pointless drama, you get over it, and then that helps you to become more authentic and pursue your destiny in life in a more authentic way. The shadow is that becoming over, the ego is out of control, falls into this crisis of confidence, either overconfident or underconfident, and you're rehashing the drama of the past and sabotaging your destiny. We're going to throw into that Venus sextiling the South Node. Ideally, when you're with other people, you're aware of how you've undermined relationships or your creativity with that pointless drama. Drawing a stick figure. Hey, everybody, I drew this great stick figure. It's not okay, great, big whoop. Do something with it. Pardon my sarcasm. Or being fake in relationships, but you're becoming aware of how you've sabotaged relationships, and then becoming aware of that, you're able to move towards the North Node, becoming more authentic in your relationships and working towards fulfilling your destiny and purpose. What in the it worked. Shadow's doing weird stuff. I'm sorry. So the shadow here being slick and manipulative and playing up past drama winds up ruining your destiny, ruining your purpose, and pulling you off and away from that. And being, and again, the same thing, plagiarizing other people's work for creativity, copying other people's styles. Hey, look what I did. Somebody else already did that. No, this is me. And you're being fake and pulling you away from your destiny. All that. The nodes of the moon are your purpose, fall into your purpose in life. North node is what you're here to achieve. South node is how you hold yourself back. You want to be aware of how you're holding yourself back so that you can move towards your purpose and destiny in life. And we get this long conjunction of the Sun and Venus. And so your relationships are helping you to become more aware of who you are, and when you become more aware of who you are, you're able to see who how you're interacting, becoming more aware of the relationships. And in Sagittarius, you're going out and potentially meeting new people and learning new things about yourself and learning new things about people. So let me get to that. So yeah, learning about who you are can help you help develop confidence in your ability to relate to others, also with your skills and your interests in the arts and music, or just different ways that you can chill out and have fun. And again, all that ties into the nodal journey. As you become more of that, and you're working with, and you're meeting new people, and you're seeing who you are in these relationships, you don't have to relive past dramas. You can move away from them and move towards being more authentic. The shadow of that is that crisis of confidence, and that's fueling this slick, manipulative, lazy. And yes, you can have that overconfident person who's slick and manipulative. I work in a school, and I can tell you there are kids who, I can't do that. Can you help me do this? And they're just, they're playing the underconfidence card. and they're just as slick and manipulative. So whether it's this crisis of confidence and the ego getting out of control, falling into this crisis of confidence, rehashing past drama and undermining and being someone that they're not and becoming someone that they are not. And that just ruins everything. And finally, we have the moon entering Gemini. What a day to have the moon want to talk. And so with the moon in Gemini, you're open to new information, new ideas. Be curious and paying attention to the world around you and embrace the opportunities to learn that arise. The shadow here is an out of control mind and just feeling out of control and distracted and unfocused, leading to be mentally disorganized and missing opportunities. Can also have you rehashing old, outdated information and scripts. And Saturday morning, we have that full moon in Gemini. And as I'm looking at this, I'm going to keep it simple because really we do have Venus and Mars tied into this as well. The sun is approaching a conjunction to Mars. We're going to have a super conjunction of Sun, Venus, and Mars next week. I'm just going to keep it simple with the sun and the moon. An opposition is a time of reflection and a time of balance. The sun is in Sagittarius. You're learning more about yourself, going out and seeing things that interest you. And it's balanced against your curiosity. Emotionally, what are you curious about? How is this reflecting who you are at heart? What are you exploring out in the world? How are you feeling about that? And what are you learning from it? So reflect on how emotional growth and development can help create faith and trust in yourself, and see how new insights, informations help you adapt better to new situations and circumstances. Gemini and Sagittarius, just as an aside, these two signs like really complementary for me. I liken Gemini to going to the library and reading about something. And Sagittarius wants to get up and do it. So the moon in Gemini, hey, I've never done skiing or tubing in the snow. Sun in Sagittarius, hey, let's go on the rabbit slopes or get on the tube slopes and just tube and just have some fun. So that's kind of the way those two energies work together. They're really complementary and really nice. The shadow here is being mentally stuck, can pull you out of balance, and being stuck in your ego can pull you out of balance as well, leaving you living a boring and predictable life. Fueling a crisis in confidence can mess with your hopes and dreams. So you're either getting up, you're learning new things and going out in the world and exploring them, or you're staying stuck in this boring, mindless rut. And Sunday, we have the moon entering Cancer, right the day before I have to go to school. Chill out, take a break. Yes, I'm back teaching school again. So moon in Cancer, moon rules the sign of Cancer. It's about emotional self-care. What do you need to do today to take a break? Learn self-care, some rest, open up to those who can help you. Open up to people who heal you, who can heal you. If someone wants to pamper you a little bit, great thing to do. Sunday, moon in Cancer is a chill day for everyone. Take it easy. The shadow here is being whiny or defensive, can have you being left alone, sorry for yourself, or hiding away can can also reinforce the wounds of the past. So there we go. That's our week, sort of long one. There's a lot going on, very intense, starting with the new year. Do follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and if you're watching this on YouTube, like it. I do a daily deep dive on Facebook, Instagram, and also on my blog page. It's where you'll see it first. And these 3 pages are making billions of dollars off your data. Digital Soul Space I call it the spiritual safe space of the internet. There's a free version and a paid version. Free version gets you limited access. Paid version gets you access to the whole site. There is an incredible amount of stuff in there. I do astrology. There's other astrologers, but we also have people who do crystals. There's tarot, oracle decks, mediumship, different practices in spirituality. There's people who do spiritual art and poetry. I'll just, you name it, it's in there somewhere, I'm sure. 4 great moderators. There's a troll-free zone. If someone posts something that's inappropriate, one of them gets it, and they always post feedback. I was surprised the other week. It's like somebody posted something, really didn't feel it was appropriate. Here's what they posted. This is why. Great team. It's a very friendly place. If you ask a question, people will share, are more than happy to share what they know. So awesome there. And how much does it cost? $1.99 a month. It's less than a cup of coffee. So like, follow, share on social media. I do readings and packages on my Freedom Through Astrology site. So I do a quick 6. If you want just a basic overview on how your chart changes, quick 6 is perfect. I hit 6 key points on your chart. Birth natal chart. Your birth chart in evolutionary astrology is your soul contract. It's who you came here to become. Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. This isn't who you are. This is the end goal and who you came here to become. Karmic, or the past life reading. If you notice a pattern rehashing, repeating in your life, or if you believe in past lives, you had a past life, it reappears in this life by an archetype. I can identify what that archetype is, help you understand how it shows up, and then how do you release it? Because you came here to heal that and release it. If you're a one and done, this is a special lesson you came here to learn. And then the horoscopes. 1 year, which is any 12 months in a row, any 3 months in a row, or any 1 month. And some people like new moon to new moon, others like first of the month to the end of the month, however you decide. And then I have packages for different levels that already have a 10% discount built in. So like, follow, and share. Go on my website, you'll get a pop-up for a newsletter, or you'll see in the upper right-hand corner a black box that says subscribe. Click on that. All I need is an email address. You get 1 email from me a week giving you all this information, a nice summary of this information before everybody else sees it. So like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. Thank you very much. Have a great new year. Enjoy yourself. And remember, in the visible sky, your life changes.